play everything back. Now, today, you'll probably remember about, I think it was actually prior to me going over to Europe, I created a sports promotion event. Okay. Now, that then I did, and I was asked by Karen Justice for her specific team, for her call, just for her team, that if I could do an event for her back then, which I did. Then she asked me if I could do a second one, which I just did the other day, but I've added to, so most of you wouldn't have seen that, but I've added to that event with some more information you're going to hear about today, guys. So I'm going to assume, and rightly so, because I can see the brand new lady sitting here who did come on thanks to connecting on social media, that some people in here have heard nothing. And I'm going to start that assuming you've heard nothing. I'm going to go through the first half of what you may have heard before, but don't log off, because in the second half, there's brand new stuff. And at the last end, there's things that not even Karen's team's heard of. So you're going to be the first to hear it today live on this call. So with that in mind, let's hop in and get into it. So we're going to talk about sports. Why are we going to talk about sports? Well, for those who don't know, I was around before Numi was invented 8 years ago, helping find the investors. And I can tell you that even though we have a nutrition product, and I hear stories every day of burning bush experiences where someone says, oh my God, I was dead and I'm now alive thanks to Numi, which is fantastic. We can't publish that, right? And I had this condition and that condition and this condition and that condition and this condition, and now I'm healthy. It's like, that's awesome. Can't publish that because it's medical. But what can we do? We can publish sports stuff because it's sports performance. So I had someone ask me, why don't we publish more of those, I was on a deathbed and I'm alive things? Because we'll get shut down. So that's why we don't do it. So yes, we know they happen, but no, we don't focus on them. And Phoebe, if you can keep letting people in the room, that'd be great. So I don't care whether you go to a fun run on the weekend and that's just a hobby, or you want to finish first, or you go to the gym because you want to stay mobile and fit, or you're competing and you're doing your personal best. I don't care whether you're in cricket or baseball or rugby or cycling or boxing or martial arts, old or young, this product can make a difference to absolutely everyone. Now, some of you know this, but for the brand new people, if you didn't know this, one of the key aspects of this slide that may be missed when you're presenting sometimes is it's the most studied molecule in medicinal chemistry, and your levels drop about 10 to 12% per decade in a healthy individual. But here's the biggest one. Did you know you burn 40%, bottom of the screen, pay attention, 40% of your internal glutathione levels are burnt in the first 10 minutes of any aerobic exercise. So as an athlete of any age, you want to be supplementing with glutathione if you want to boost your performance. So I'm going to show you, for brand new people, this isn't just about glutathione. We solved a problem. And it's a fact that 90% of oral supplements are not fully absorbed, which means only a fraction of the nutrients get to where they need to be. I'm going to show you an example in a minute of someone who was supplementing with another supplement in glutathione who nearly doubled his output when he took on our product. So not all glutathiones are the same. That's the key point. So what makes us different? Well, we invented something that delivers glutathione and other proven ingredients into the bloodstream in 30 seconds and into the organs in 70 seconds, amplifying the results. So the key aspects that make us different: one, we get access to the cell that no one else can do because we're under 10 nanometers and other people are not. Even liposomal technologies, calling themselves nano, are usually 300 nanometers, maybe even 60 nanometers, but that's too large to penetrate a cell and too large to penetrate the blood-brain barrier. Second thing is surface contact. When you are nano-sized, you can see a normal nutrition molecule touches and that's all it can absorb. If you're nano-sized, you get 200 times greater surface contact. And then, of course, delivering it with ultra-purified water molecules is very different to delivering it with lipids like liposomal, which is fats, and fats can attract toxins. So there's nothing comes close to this delivery method. And these are the three things that make us completely unique. So proving that to you about sports performance is Bill Gillespie. Now, Bill was using a product from many years ago in another company we're affiliated with that we won't mention the name because we don't want to, end up in court. But that product was a great product. It was amazing. And guess what happened? At 49 years of age, Bill started using it and boom, he broke world records in his bench press. So we wondered what would happen if we took Bill, much older, and gave him this breakthrough before Numi even began. And that's what happened. It just went off the charts. He went from about 804 pounds to, not quite double, but not far off, which is phenomenal. So that proves that it's about the delivery method. Now, when we first started, how we launched the company, I had some product here in Australia before Numi launched, and we got it in the hands of various athletes, and unanimous feedback across the board. Athletes, Olympians, etc., all said their performance had improved. And this is one of the first testimonials from someone up the road here. Natalie Jenkinson is an Olympian and 4 times Australian women's boxing champion. And the key point here is she said, by day 13, I was training better than I had in years, and it gave me back the endurance and recovery I had in my elite fighting years. So some people would log on and say, yeah, but she probably eats rubbish. I'm a healthy person. I'm a vegan. I just eat green veggies, nothing, I won't need your product. Well, this is a vegan triathlete. After 4 days, I had a tremendous increase that meant I found a disinterest in coffee. And 1 week into my performance by running, speed, muscle strength, everything became noticeably better. So we launched with these testimonials back then. This is a friend of mine who's running a sports expo in New Zealand on the weekend, Greg Dixon. And he says in his 20s, he would do half-day events in cycling and he'd have nothing left in the tank. Now, he's older than that now, 59, on NutraSwish, he can go out and do whole-day events. Unbelievable. So then I decided to use a crash test dummy in Mini-Me. That is my son. And as you can see, he looks exactly like I do if I was stung by a million bees. Right? Because he's got the same size biceps as my thighs, right? But he actually said 4 weeks into using Swish around his training, as well as post-training sessions, even more personal bests, including hitting his highest deadlift ever. So phenomenal to see young athletes, old athletes like Bill Gillespie, and you keep going around the world. We then initiated a sports testimonial reinvigoration in Australia and New Zealand through some product I had that was coming close to out of date. And we gave it to lots of different people in different sports codes. This one here was Ben, very skeptical, an owner of an MMA gym. And he said, no, I'll see how I go. Well, after 3 days of taking the product, he said, I definitely experienced an uplift in my cardio. In fact, I was able to go 20 minutes in the ring with one of the fittest MMA fighters I've ever known. And normally I can't last longer than 5 minutes. So unbelievable feedback from him, a very skeptical guy. Addition to that, if you're looking at this one, this is Nagy Arnold, one of the kickboxing trainers and athletes overseas in Romania. And I love this because we started this initiative in Australia, but then it spawned across the world in Romania from a person not even in my team. But I don't care about that. This is about a rising tide floats all boats. And the smart leader who is a servant leader doesn't go, my team, my team, my team. That's not Numi energy. They try and collaborate for the greater good. Now, we understand we don't interfere in people's teams and coach in people's teams when they cross line, but we do share and love and create tools and so forth. So he said, before Numi, I saw talented fighters struggle with fatigue, slow recovery, lingering soreness. Since introducing Numi to my own routine and recommending to my fighters, a change has been incredible. You can see what he said there. Phenomenal. Now, I'm racing through these first ones because I want to get to the new stuff. This is Brad. He's a long-distance runner, and he said this. Despite this, he had a standout 15-kilometre trail run where he noticed noticeably stronger. He said, despite it being nearly half a kilometre long than his previous time trial, he managed to cut 7 minutes off. Real signs that it works. And of course, that spawned lots of other people using it in Perth, Western Australia. This is a lady who is in Mandurah, Western Australia, just an everyday lady that goes to the gym. And she had it for 10 days. She said she's feeling stronger. All her lifts have increased. Recovery between workouts is better. Even with the bug, she bounced back quicker as well. And I want to say all sports codes across the ditch, as we say, with New Zealand. This is Andre, competitive cyclists. And the key point here, don't take our word for it. There's no anecdotal evidence here. This gentleman tracked it with an app, proof. And he says, my cyclocross race since starting November was an eye-opener. I felt in control the whole way, stayed in heart rate zones without blowing up, and even landed my first ever top 10, right? Now, it's interesting. Strava is an app. And Strava flagged a power boost with stronger than average speeds and so forth. So scientific evidence proving the boost in results. Now, these testimonials are all available for all of you to use, and they're sitting on YouTube, and this is being broadcast to YouTube for you to use right now. That led to another cyclist in the same area in New Zealand, and he said, I had 2 standout training sessions where I had a noticeably stronger RPE, that's a rate of perceived exertion, measured by another app, which was significantly lower despite maintaining the same power output. So he was blown away as well. then it doesn't matter what age you are. This is a lady who actually is a personal trainer that helps older people, and she can say in this one, I I go to I didn't write that right. My bad, guys, bad English. Oh, sorry. I go to a strength class once a week, as well as my other classes, and I've been able to increase my weight size, and I didn't think the change would be so quick. I'm stoked. That's an Aussie slang, guys, if you don't know what stoked means. So running through all of those, that's where we got to. Now what I want to do is I'm going to play a quick interview that I did. I can see her online, Florence. I just want to make sure that the video plays, including sound and optimization. So give me a sec. And I love the ripple effect. And that is when you create tools like this, like we did in the first section, and then someone else takes it, uses it, and causes a ripple effect in their business. So have a listen to this quick interview that I did with Florence, and I want you to take her lead and run with her idea. Have a listen. It's fantastic. All right. So now what we want to talk about is the ripple effect that is happening because we are doing a lot of the sports testimonial stuff around the NUMI world. I want to say this. One of the teams around the world asked me in Europe to go do an event for them, and they said, "Michael, look around the room. What do you see?" And it was pretty obvious. And they said, "Old, sick people." And that particular group had fallen into the trap of just targeting old and sick people. But we know that NUMI is applicable to so many different demographics and so many people can benefit. So a while ago, we did kick off the Sports Testimonial Project. And the ripple effect of that is what excites me more than anything, because if you see people around the world taking on different initiatives because maybe that little seed was planted and then someone watered it, that blows my mind and inspires me. So with that in mind, Florence, I'd love it if you would kick off talking about how that sort of caused you to take a new path and what the ripple effect was for you with that.
Thank you, Michael, and then good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everybody. My name is Florence Hamill, and when Michael put that beautiful Dropbox together and those testimonies, what really caught my attention was this girl running and her testimony about her endurance. And at that time in our team, we had one sports person who had a wellness shop, wellness clinic, and he was a former baseball league athlete, and he was selling successfully the PRP program. But that was it. And we didn't have any other sports people. So when my daughter registered for a sprint triathlon, I hope I'm saying this right. It's a shorter version of the triathlon. She mentioned this gentleman when she registered to get her bib and get everything ready for the race. This gentleman called Alan, who was super sweet and very welcoming and really helped her because obviously she was new in the race and the discipline. And he was super nice and warm. And I said, oh, that would be nice to meet this gentleman. So obviously we went to her race, woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then, the race got started and Alan completely slipped my mind. And we were surrounded by athletes and also the family members also who were there to cheer. And then we started talking with my son because I was a former swimmer. And so we said, oh, it'd be nice to get back into swimming. And there was a booth there with brochures and it said, swim team. And I said it would be nice to maybe join a adult swim team. So I go to the booth and there's nobody there. And I just look at the brochure and this gentleman walks into the booth and he looks at me and goes, hello, my name is Alan. And I looked at him and I said, oh, are you the Alan that welcomed my daughter for the race? And he goes, yes, Camille, the tall Camille. And so right away we made a really nice contact and he explained what he did and he's a swim coach and he explained the whole thing. And we just got into that conversation. I thanked him. I said, we'll look into this and then walked away. And then from there, I was like, oh, maybe I should have told him about NUMI and maybe I should just email him. So I got home and I emailed him, because I looked on the brochure, there was some sponsorship. There was a company sponsoring the team. And so I just emailed him and said, well, if you're looking for partners, maybe you can look at NUMI and this is how we function and everything. And just talked about the benefits of the product. And to my surprise, he emailed me back and said, yeah, let's talk.
Brilliant,
So that's
brilliant.
how it started.
And so there's an opportunity, guys. So opportunities are right in front of you. Go to an event, what have you. But because the seed was planted and then Florence was out there with her daughter, you never know where it's going to go. And I want to say it's awesome to see you take the initiative to reach out like that. But now, this is the exciting part. How has that evolved since that initial conversation?
So then we met at a coffee shop, and I showed him the products, and he was skeptical, but he was open. He showed me his paper where he had the different sponsorship, categories. So you had the bronze one for $1,500 a year, then the silver one, $2,500, and then the gold one for $5,000. And so I'm looking at this paper, and I said, well, we don't really work that way with our company. It's a network marketing model, and so you basically purchase product for your own consumption. But with the 500 members that you have in your association, this can lead to obviously people purchasing product for their performance. They're all athletes, and then this obviously can generate commissions for the association. So he looked at me and said, well, send me some numbers, and we'll talk more. So we leave it at that. I go home. I put the whole business plan together for him with the numbers, and then he had a social event that he was hosting for his team, and he invited me, but I couldn't go because I was at the meeting in Florida. So my husband went, and I told him, do not speak to him about Numi, just make friends, get to know him, get to know the team and the people there. There was a French woman there. So he had a really good time. The event was super nice. And then he came home and he said, well, you have a meeting with him next week. And I said, oh, I do? Really? I didn't know. So sure enough, I come back from Florida, and he emails me and says, well, let's meet on Thursday. And I said, all right, perfect. So we meet on Thursday. And so I walk to him, and he's on at the coffee shop, and his arms are crossed, his body language is very close, and I'm a little afraid, and I go, oh, what's going on? So then I tell him again the numbers, and then I look at him and I said, well, do you have any experience in network marketing? And he goes, well, actually, I do. And I said, really? And he says, yes, I've been a consumer or customer of a multi-million-dollar health and wellness company for the past 18 years. And I look at him and I go, oh. And I said, well, why didn't you talk to your sponsor about this opportunity to become a partner with your association? And he said, well, I tried numerous times, but he never was interested. And so from my heart came this excitement. And I said, well, we're going to show him how we can get this done. And so he laughed and he said, all right, let's get started. And so he enrolled, he bought a pack, the quarterly pack. And he said to me as we walked out, he said, this is the first time that I actually am paying for a partner to help us financially. So I said to him, well, thank you for your trust. I'm really looking forward to working with you.
Beautiful. Now, I want to just pop in here before the final question and just say, value what you have. And I say this because, Florence, we've been doing the sports testimonial project in Australia and New Zealand, and I noticed a couple of people take the easy road. Oh, give away some product for free. Or, someone wants to be sponsored. Can we pay them? Whereas you've gone, well, hey, I value what we have. No, you join and you use that. And so standing up, it's interesting that the person I don't know the name of the it's billion-dollar nutrition company that he was with, for them to miss this opportunity is huge. But Florence and her initiative, hats off to you. That's absolutely fantastic. So what are the opportunities moving forward? Look, how is this going to evolve? You mentioned to me before some of the things that this could turn into. So tell everyone a little bit about that.
So the association is 15 years old. So he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of members who are part of the association. He has a lady who's in charge of all the social media presence. They are all over the social media, Facebook, Instagram, I mean, you name it, everything. And so part of the partnership, the sponsorship, is they're going to create posts for Numi as one of the sponsors. And I think they do 6 a year, but we might do more because thank God to Numi, they already have a lot of materials that we can put on social media. And then as part of us being partners, all the races that they're going to be present at with that little booth, we're going to be there. So we'll be there to sample the product. We'll have flyers where people with the association's QR code. And then we'll obviously be talking to the athletes and to other coaches who knows who will be at the races also. So they have one scheduled for in December. So we'll do that one in December. And in the meantime, we have flyers that we've prepared that we'll print out and we'll be able to send to share with people as we make friends around the community. So I'm really looking forward to that because I don't know, there's there's such an energy during those events. I mean, just being there with my daughter, it is super tiring. We feel so sorry for these athletes, but there is such a nice atmosphere, and everybody is so upbeat and so thrilled to be part of the race. Be it, you know, spectators or the runners, it's really, really going to be amazing. And Alan is a very busy man, but he's super with communications, and having that partner who's working for them and taking care of social media, I think this is going to be great. So we're already on there. The NUMI logo is already on their website, and then the link, obviously the marketing link, and it's just a question of getting the word out and having people try the product and see how it works for them. Yeah.
Beautiful. You know what? Something just popped in my head from 20 years ago in the mortgage industry, which is very relevant to something that Florence just said. So sometimes mortgage brokers would sponsor something and have their logo there and that sort of stuff, and you'd see very little come out of it. But when they went to the events of the sponsor in person, they built relationships with people, and they would introduce themselves. I'm one of the sponsors, right? We're sponsoring the event in various ways. It starts a conversation, and boom, so much business would come out of that referral source versus just having the logo on something or a little bit of social media. So hats off to you, Florence. Well done. And this is going to inspire a lot of people, I'm sure, to take a further step in this direction as well. All righty. So there you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Florence. How many people thought that was awesome? And I love she took the initiative. And of course, every single one of you can take the same initiative on today's call if you wish. Now, I just want to point this out for anyone who's brand new. The primary strategy that's got us into 74 countries worldwide and grown crowns, triple diamonds, double diamonds, what have you, diamonds, all of that is NUMI 123. Sharing the 2-minute video, followed by the opportunity presentation and a 3-way Zoom with someone, and then try the product. That's the primary thing. These are all secondary strategies. Sports is one market, right? There's many different markets in which you're going to see in just a minute. So, you know, don't deter from the primary strategy, because if you can't put your hand on your heart and say that's what I did, then you'll never duplicate it. So don't just run off for a shiny object as sports on its own. It's just one cog in the wheel is the main thing I really want to explain to you guys. So with that in mind, let me just get the slides back up. And I want to say too, thank you to Florence, because Florence sparked something, and I had a similar example. In fact, this morning I was on a call with a world-class basketballer, right? And how did this come about? Well, a company on social media, just you never know. I don't get much out of Instagram. Facebook's my thing, goes berserk for me. But randomly, I had a guy reach out to me about 6 weeks ago on Instagram who said, hey, I'm a sports management company. Can you sponsor some athletes? I said, no, we don't sponsor athletes. You know, we have done product in the past. He goes, no, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh, let's talk. So I hopped on, met the guy, based on exactly what Florence had said. I said, hey, you know, more than happy to sponsor some product and some athletes in return for signing a document that says they will give us a testimonial and they won't ask for sponsorship down the track. And then I just threw in there, I said, hey, you know, there could be an awesome opportunity for you if you're getting exposure for these athletes. So today he got me on the call with the first athlete, which is a gentleman in Latin America who's a very professional basketballer, that's what I'll say, till he comes out of the closet. And he was over the moon, and I just threw into the conversation at the end. I said, we'll call him Fred, because that's not his name. I said, hey, Fred, you know, we're not here today to talk about our business, but I've said transparently there's a network marketing business behind the breakthrough. You know, assuming you get a fantastic result on this, not only a testimonial as in a photograph, we could do a video, if you like, interacting with what your results are at the end. And then if you wanted to be a registered member of NUMI, you could turn that into a cash flow as an athlete on the side. He goes, I'm absolutely open to that. Right? So you just never know. So you never know where it's going to go. So let's move on from here. So now I want to get to some of the stuff that we've created since you saw it last. Now, yes, some of Karen's team have seen this, but you still haven't seen the bits at the end, right? So this is actually, believe it or not, my barber. Now, you might think to be a crown, you need to be super intelligent. I beg to differ. I was sitting in front of my barber talking about the hair product, right? And then I tried to explain a bit while I'm getting my hair cut about what we do. And he goes, oh, if you've got a product for sports? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, I do CrossFit. So next minute, my barber's on the product, and this is his testimonial, right? During cardio sessions, it gives me a real second wind. Whoops, back a stage. helping me push my limits and go further than I usually could. My recovery after training is much faster, which means I perform at my best consistently. Thanks to NutraSwish, I've been able to beat some of my personal bests. 27-year-old at the gym here who's also a barber, hence the bald head. Always scratch my head when I see that. And then this is actually thanks to Alfredo, who I saw on social media a second ago watching this presentation. Alfredo in the Spanish team, this is his good buddy, Gabe Northern, former NFL linebacker. And you can see this because as we get older, his body just doesn't feel the same and recovery isn't as easy. Then he discovered the HydraStat molecular encapsulation glutathione, made a noticeable difference. Today, he finishes his workout strong with ease and feels energized. So someone quite famous as well. Different sports code. You all saw this one on the previous one, Janessa, who's a personal trainer who's now 2 times world champion in her sport. We turned her into one of the tools. I'll show you in a minute. And then John McKenzie happens to be a friend of somebody over in New Zealand. He's in the corporate world. And I like this testimonial because it shows well-rounded. And I'll read the whole one here. So I've been using NutraSwish for a while now, and the difference has been remarkable. Between a busy mix of media and event work, often involving long days, big nights, and plenty of time on stage or behind a mic, I need to stay sharp, energized, and performing at best. Add in tennis, some cycling, some skiing, and family life. There's a lot going on. Since starting NutraSwish, I've noticed clear improvements in energy, recovery, sleep. After a recent eye injury, I was tested in hospital, and his recovery and test results came back showing performance levels compared to an elite athlete. Wow. On a court and on the bike, I felt benefits too. My energy holds up through long tennis sessions, started doing longer rides, and even managing to hang in when the pace lifts in group rides, despite not having done much outdoor cycling lately. Sleeping better, recovering faster, etc., etc. So then again, thanks to the Spanish team, we got this one, which is Paula Romiguera, a 2 times world champion figure skater. And she says, when training for 6 hours using Numi, I can maintain the energy that I did at 2 hours without it. And it's helped her eliminate jet lag and also stayed focused when studying. This young girl who said, when I was younger, and I looked at her and gone, younger? How old are you? Because she looks about 14, but she's actually 20, right? And she's been doing skating for 14 years, which is amazing. So she's studying a biomedical engineering degree at the very same time. That then led us to this guy. Now, how does it happen? The key to this business is 2 people through people, not sponsoring thousands. When you get someone who goes beating their chest, I've sponsored thousands of people in Numi. Don't roll your eyes, but don't put them on a pedestal because that's not network marketing. Duplication is. This guy is my barber's father. Right? And he happens to be up the road as well. So 2 people, 3 people. As a 59-year-old, I'm training 6 days a week and recovery has always been a challenge. That is until I started NutraSwish 3 months ago. The difference was immediate, intense workouts. My body bounced back ever better than before. No feeling drained or sluggish the next day. Wakes up energized, ready to take on the next day. Stamina's improved, feel more vibrant. Now ask questions because I was chatting to him the other day. He hasn't joined the business yet. And I said, hey, how did your wife like the product? Yeah, she loves it. I said, well, we should talk about, quoting Aaron Rennett, maybe I can show you how you can get your product for free. He goes, yeah, we'd be keen on that. Then I discover his wife runs and owns a athletic clothing company. Hello, McFly. There's opportunity right there. So wrapping it up on that part, now I'm going to get into some new stuff. We've talked all about NutraSwish. We all know we have more products. There is the Neuro, there is the Hers, there is the skin product, and there's the hair. So I'm going to watch Sergio's face when I say this. We had a hair testimonial competition, and we didn't get enough testimonials. Now, we can only make good tools for you if you help us by giving us your testimonials. We had a lot of people say in verbal words how great the hair product was, but no one said a photo, or very few. And I want to create more tools. We want to create more tools for you, but we need to reach out to you and ask you to do us a favor. We need you to take some before and after photographs. And if anyone in your team has amazing hair like this lady, you need to get a photograph in exactly the same position before and after, like I did on the back of my head through my barber, and you've got access to that one as well. We want some more well-rounded tools. The only reason I'm giving you sports tools galore is it's so easy. But guys, with every one of these products, if you have a testimonial, put it into the Numi New You Facebook group as quick as you can, because that's where they all go, right here. Numi New You, that's the official Facebook group. Everything else is team groups. This is the only one open to everyone in every team. So please put them in there. Now, since the last call, we have created more tools. And every time I create a tool here that we launch, it comes out in these examples, which is like a poster. In fact, the guy in the middle is Greg Dixon. Prue and Greg are running a sports expo with 7,000 athletes on Saturday in New Zealand. And they've got a stand there. And these have been produced as posters. So when I create a tool, you can use it any way you like. So it could be on a social media post, 3 separate posts, and or print it off as a poster, which is what they're going to do on their stand. Then we turn it into a video tool, which I'm going to show you quickly the latest one of these. All right. So that was produced for Facebook and Instagram stories. It's a short 30-second video. We've got numerous ones of those. But here's where I'm going to do a shout out. And firstly, Florence said to me, can you create those so that I can use them on Instagram in a square? And I'm like, well, give me a break. Yes, we will. Right. Thank you for asking. But we've already got a lot of tools. I will get to that. But see what we have on the screen here. I want to do a shout out. All our tools, when we create them in English now, the first thing we do is we put them on the team site and test them. When they work, we then reach out to various people. And as a result, and I won't name them all, but there's about 15 different people in different teams, some even crossline teams that are helping us. We now have all these tools produced in not just English, but Spanish, Polish, French, Hungarian, Greek, Indonesian, Taiwanese, Hebrew, Tagalog, that's Filipino, Romanian, Russian, German, and thanks to Roberto in Japanese, the first Japanese team who was going to collaborate properly. And he has helped us to create those in Japanese as well now. So you all have access to that. But here's the good news. Corporate have now put it in a place you can see all of these. So given once a week, we send these tools through to head office, and you'll find them in the following place under back office, tools and resources, Numi marketing assets. Now, I've got some more tools to show you. You haven't even seen everything yet. But before I do, I'm just going to quickly show you where to find those tools. And then we'll come back and show you something brand new. So I'm in the back office and I've blocked out my names of my people to protect the innocent. But if you click on the left-hand side, you'll see tools and resources. So under the little ribbon, tools and resources, and then you click on Numi marketing assets. So Numi marketing assets. When that opens up, that's actually the Google Drive the company's created. Then if you go here, you'll see new social media tools. So double click on that. And then you'll see all sorts of things. In fact, let me just point out here too, I also have some videos we've created here, which you can use. So for example, if you wanted to send a moving picture of a NutraSwish bottle, they're in there. All these videos are there. Every tool that's ever created is there for you. But if you go to sports testimonials, which is the primary one, every language is here. So again, thanks, Roberto. We go to Japanese and everything is there. So in the images you can use, but also at the bottom, the videos that you can use as well. So all of that's there created for you. But how did it happen? Because beautiful servant leaders around the world are collaborating for the greater good, not just their own teams. And we're putting this together and then we're publishing it for absolutely everyone. Now's the bit I wanted to show you haven't seen. Ready? This is the fun part. Get excited by this. All right. So we didn't stop there. Just the other day, sitting in front of the TV, I had a brainwave, and that is we've had this guy for so long, but we haven't had him in a very good image. So I found this online. It took me forever to find it. I don't know why I didn't look a long time ago. That's his brand from his personal training. And so that is a poster / image, and I'm going to create that as one of the videos very soon. So I want to see in the chat, who would like to see this in a 30-second video in lots of languages as well? Type it in the chat if you do, because again, if all the other teams want to collaborate, I can definitely get that created for you and get it uploaded into the right place as well. But there's more. Steak knives. No, just kidding. I want to
Are
put
financial anxieties making dreams impossible? Does your job lack purpose, making the daily grind a struggle? An extra $500 or $1,000 monthly could accelerate your house deposit or fund travel. A side gig can transform your future, bringing purpose to the life you deserve.
Now, believe it or not, the experts say that the younger generation have the attention span of a gnat. Right? 30 seconds, that's it, all you got them for. So that's why that's 30 seconds long. I'm getting like that too now. I can only watch an 8-minute video on YouTube and I'm done. Otherwise, I've got to get to the next video. So if lives are faster, things need to be quicker. That's a hook, a social media hook. We've tested it on the one of the team sites. It worked really well. And we will upload that for you to be able to use in the social media tools if you wish. But there's more. There's another test we just did, and I ran this past Anton because we don't, just because we might test something on a team site doesn't mean we'll put it on the official site. You will see this next video on the official site once Blue Friday's out of the way, because we don't want to distract you from Blue Friday. But I want to see what you think about this creative tool.
I have a question for you. What would inspire Stanford heart transplant surgeons, Mayo Clinic researchers, and veteran gene expression experts to donate their expertise on a medical advisory board for free? Answer. Their own words say it best. They're seeing breakthrough results from a brand new nutrition delivery method that outperforms anything they've ever encountered in decades of clinical and scientific practice. We've taken the most studied nutrition molecule in medicinal chemistry, which already has over 195,000 clinical studies, and amplified its results by delivering it directly to a human cell in a way that has never been done before. If you're committed to your personal health and wellness, and you would like a free fact sheet and a 3-minute explanatory video, simply type yes in the comments.
Who likes that one? Type in if you like that one. So again, it doesn't say anything about Noomi. The side gig one didn't say anything about Noomi. They're hooks. They're designed to get people to engage with you. Now, you notice it said type in yes if you want to receive something. On the back end of the company site, we have some automation that will send the video and the thing out. It'll always say, get back to the person who sent you to this information for more information, because we're not trying to get anyone to sign up to the company. We don't do that. But that tool, once it goes on the company site, will also be in the Google Drive next week or the week after, and then you'll be able to use that on your own sites if you like as well. So who loves that one? Love to see it in the chat. So that is all because we're able to collaborate with your input. Now, the one thing I can't promise you is that those last 2 videos will be in every language, because that's a lot of work, but we'll certainly get to see what we can do. So the final message I want to say as we wrap this up, I just want to implore every one of you, if you can, you want more tools like that? Who wants more tools like that? Type in yes if you do. If you want more tools like that, we need you. What's that statement from Jerry Maguire, the movie? Help me, help you. Help me, help you, as he says, right? So we can't, Sergio can't, marketing can't, we can't help you if you don't help yourself by getting us the testimonials. All we need is a photograph and some wording in the Noomi New You group, as much as you can, on every single product, every single time. And the more you put in there, they'll turn into these professional tools. So if you work with us, we'll make your job a lot easier as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's